Ryan, I would love to, I would have loved to have had Ryan and Christine on here. They both have had some cool wins. Christine started, if you follow her on social media, she took what I was doing with the loan officer spotlight posts, and she started doing realtor spotlight posts, realtor spotlights. And she was smart. Before she did it, she called all the realtors that she's going to do it for to let them know she was going to start doing it and that she was going to see other realtors, but to not get butt hurt because I'm going to do it with everybody. And they're like, oh, okay, cool. That's sweet. The first realtor sent her a text message back after she saw it. And she said, oh my God, you're like 1,000 times better than any lender I've ever worked with. So, just really smart. So take a look at what she did. She used she used the graphic that, she used the same graphic that marketing did for me, but I wouldn't recommend, if you were going to do something like that, I wouldn't recommend that you did it. I would get a different graphic, right? So that it looks a little bit not as other people see it, but I think it's a great idea. And then Ryan, to your point, Jessica, Ryan has been going out and having the conversations about the partnership programs with realtors, and he's being very intentional about targeting realtors that do solid volume. And he's had nothing but positive results from those conversations. Those conversations have gone off really, really well. So he's looking for, and he's making sure that it's like, I know that these are people that I would like to do a lot of that. First of all, they do a lot of business, but I know I'd like them. There's some people I think, and I think that's an important important distinction to keep in mind. You shouldn't try to do it with a realtor just because they do a lot of volume if you don't think you're going to like them. Right. At the end of the day, you gotta want to answer that phone at 7 o'clock on a Saturday. I really think that's important because you're not going to want to answer it if they're assholes. And I live that. And so keep that in mind. I want to talk about the goals that everybody, I think we've set the goals for the most part. I know everybody's numbers. Jessica, you and I still need to do a follow-up meeting. And I want to make sure that when you're looking at those goals that you've set and then the tasks that you need to do. So if you've got a goal to hit X number of units or X number of families that you want to try to help this year, you got to make sure, because that's pretty much, there's something like that on everybody's goals. This is how many units I want to do. It's like, you got to make sure that you've outlined, here's the steps that I have to take to get there. You have to make sure those steps, you can draw a line from those, the completion and the execution of those steps. You got to be able to draw a direct line between those steps and the goal. And if you can't see that those steps are going to are those steps going to get me what I want to do? And Chris, I'm not picking on you, but one of the things that Chris said was, I want to do more. I think you said, I want to have more conversations with realtors and clients. It's like, okay.
No, this is my conversion.
You want it, it was something, what was it? Hang on. I got it. Hang on. It made me go like,
oh,
okay,
call realtors and past clients more, as in like, don't text them,
call
like
realtors
call
and
them
past
more.
clients more. And I'm like, okay, well, but you can't quantify. I don't know what more mean. And I want to make sure that you guys know, here's what I'm going to do. And this is the metric that I'm holding. Like, Casey, I'm going to give you the shout out. Casey said, I'm going to have 15 conversations a day. It's like, okay, good. That's a solid freaking number. I'm going to have 15 conversations. I'm going to make as many calls as I have to make, because that's something that you can track and measure. And if you're doing that, Casey, like you will get better results, right? Like, it will actually produce better results. 75 conversations a week is going to produce a much better result. That's not face-to-face or anything else like that. But so that's what I want to make sure that you're looking at that way, because if it's at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we're on track and that you're on track to reach your goal, because you all set a goal. This is how much business I want to do. And I don't want either one of us to be disappointed that you're not doing it. So make sure of that, and we'll keep talking about it, because the segues into the next thing. So I'm going to set up where we're going to do, there's some people here I try to have meals with once a month, and some people I try to get together with coffee and things like that. I'm not going to keep doing that. I'm not going to keep that up, because it's just gets to where, like, this is really hard to manage, and it's hard for you as well. But I do want to do a monthly check-in with each one of you. And so I'm spending a lot of time. I'm going back into a really solid, hard time blocking mode with my schedule because my focus this year is to focus on recruiting. I have to grow. We have to grow. We have to get more loan officers. And the goal is, and I'm putting it out there for everybody and I'm telling everybody this. So like, I have to do it. It's public display of accountability. We will have 40 loan officers working here by the end of the year, a total of 40. And we can do that. I can do that. I just have never tried to do that. I've never made any kind of an effort. So I'm in a coaching program that talks about the recruiting, and Casey and I are working together on this a little bit. Casey's helping, and we're, when you see what I've been shown, you'd be like, oh yeah, we could get to 40 loan officers, and they're going to be good fit loan officers, core value matches. They're going to be the kind of people that we all want to be a part of, and that fit in with this culture and that understand the way we want to do business, which is, you know, we want clean files from, you know, origination to closing so that we can, I want everybody to become great business people in the process of becoming a great loan officer, because you understand what that means. You can have a much better career and a much better experience and a lot more money because you're efficient. Anyway, I'm being really specific about how I'm time blocking my calendar to do that. And it's what I'm doing, what I'm changing. And this ties into the kind of prospecting activity that a lot of coaching programs talk about, is like, you've got to hard code your prospecting activity for the morning every day, and make it non-negotiable. Like, I'm prospecting, that's what I'm doing. So it's kind of the win by noon idea, Casey. I'm doing this before I do anything else. And so I'm not checking my email in the morning at all anymore. Like, I'm not, even though Amy kind of scrubs my emails and I have a folder that I can go and check. It's like, I'm just coming in and I'm going to work on the prospecting activity because I know that that's what I have to do to reach the goal. And if I do it every day, I'm going to make progress, and I'm already making progress. It's actually funny how it's not as challenging as I thought it was when I have the approach that I've learned. So anyway, that works for all of us. That works for everything that you're trying to do. So for all the prospecting activity that you guys want to do to reach that goal, it has to be time blocked into that calendar. So when it comes to our loan officer check-ins on a monthly basis, I'm blocking from 2 to 5 every Tuesday. And then I'm going to just pick every Tuesday from 2 to 5. We'll have something scheduled where we're spending 45 minutes to an hour. And anytime any of you need anything from me outside of that, you know, all you have to do is raise your hand. It's not like I'm like, sorry, I can't do it. Unless it's at between 9 and noon in the morning and on Monday through Friday. And obviously, if something's, you know, a tragedy, you know, obviously I'll get involved, but I have to stay focused on that. But I don't want to negate the fact that I want to spend time with you and I want to check in, because so once you have this plan, and then, you know, so you have a goal and then you have a plan to achieve the goal, it's about execution. And then the execution comes with accountability. Now, I can only do so much. I'm not going to fire you if you don't make the calls. That's not our business. It would be, if it did, you'd all be doing more business, but that's not what we do. And that's never been the model. So the model is your level of ambition and drive and accountability for yourself. So that's what that commitment lockdown program that we talked about, where people came up with, this is what I'm going to do. And if I don't do it, here's the price I'm going to pay, or here's the reward that I get for doing it. And there's no way I'm not doing it. So you've created that commitment lockdown that says, I'm doing this no matter what. And that's where, when you get public, like I just did, and say, look, we're going to have 40 people working here and it's going to happen by the end of the year. And it's going to happen by the end of the year. It's just not going to not happen. And so I want you to think about creating that level of accountability around the goals, not around the goals, but around the activity, because the activity you can control. The outcome based, you know, you saw my Friday focus today. If you didn't, the outcome isn't guaranteed. It's never been guaranteed, right? But the activity is guaranteed, because you can always do the activity that produces the result that you're looking for. And that's the accountability part that we're talking about. I can only do so much, right? Because you're going to do what you're going to do. And if you don't want to work tomorrow afternoon, you're not working tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow's not a good day. If you don't want to work Monday between 12 and 3, you're not gonna. I can't make you do that. We're not following you. I don't know if anybody's listened to the podcast that I did with Tim Brahim. I just finished listening to it. It was really good. Like I listened to it, I go, this is a really good fucking podcast. Like I'm loving this shit. Like I should make sure everybody listens to it. And I texted Tim this morning and I go, dude, that was a really good podcast. Thank you for bringing that out. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. And he goes, no, dude, it was really good. It was terrific. He goes, go check out the WhatsApp thread because I'm not spending a lot of time on it. He goes, and so this is WhatsApp thread with the group that we're in. He goes, you got a lot of love on that thing. And so I was looking this morning, he's like, shit, this is a really good podcast. So in that podcast, we talk about what happens if you have a job. If you have a job, and Tim and I both worked in the grocery business when we were way younger. And if any of you ever worked in a grocery store, you knew that you got a shift and the shift started at 9 a.m. and you had to be ready to work at you had to get there before 9. Like you didn't show up at 9 because you were late. You had to get there before 9 and then you had to sign in. And then if you were a checker, as an example, you were a checker, you had to show up at the front desk and they gave you a cash drawer and you had to go sign in and you're standing at that register from 9 to 11 before you get a break. From 9 to 11, this is your job. You stand here and you have to check out the groceries. And then you get a break for 15 minutes and your 15-minute break's over and you have to be back at 11:15, sign back into the register. And that's the job. And they pay you $12 an hour. And $12 an hour in 1976 was like a fucking fortune. And I was making $2.88 an hour as a sacker then, but it was the same type of gig. I always remember what my first real job starting pay was, $2.88 an hour. Did you work at King's, Casey? I didn't know that. So yeah, retail sucks. And so I always tell people, retail is the worst fucking job because you're working nights, weekends, and holidays. All the times that everybody would like to be off, you're working. And so retail sucks. But the point is that if you had that job, and you do have that job, we talked about it on the call, you do have that job, you get paid by the hour. You get paid now by the value you bring to the hour, not the other way around. In that job, you got paid to stand there and do the work. You didn't bring a lot of value to the hour, and that's why it was $2.88 or $12 or whatever it was. And you get paid the same way now. But if you don't think that way, if you don't go like, dude, I have to work, I'm at work, this is what I have to do, then it's really hard. This job is a hard job because the time you get is all yours. You get to do whatever you want. That's the greatest part about the job. It's also the most difficult part of the job because you have total freedom to make whatever decision you want to make in this moment. And that's the hard part. So if you started treating it like a checker job, like, dude, I got to be here, I got to do the work from 9. Because if you were going to get fired, if you fired yourself, or that's the question I guess to ask yourself every day is like, would I pay myself to do the work I just did, or would I fire myself for the amount of work that I accomplished? So keep that in mind. Check out the podcast. So I'll get out. I'll get something on everybody's schedule starting later this month for check-ins, and then listen to the podcast, and then I would record that 5-year story on your phone. If you haven't written it out, and I guess you have, I think most of you did that, but record it and then listen to it because it will imprint on your brain. And it's actually really fun to listen to it over and over again. And I'm getting a lot out of it. Does anybody have anything else they want to add?
I was going to add just that I did do all of last year blocking off the mornings where it was all the prospecting stuff, realtor meetings, realtor calls, birthdays, annual reviews, all that. And I'm going to continue doing that. Felt really productive. And then one thing I got from that coaching, goal setting thing that we did that I had thought about for years, it's kind of a core thing, which is like giving your days a theme. So I started that a couple weeks ago, and it's been a lot more helpful than I thought it would be. So I don't have them memorized yet. So like Monday, I'm not calling realtors on Monday. I'm doing all the annual reviews for the week on Monday. So anyone that closed, in Salesforce, it'll tell you when you have deals that closed over the next 7 days at any time in the past. So I'm doing all of those. So that way especially if rates move lower. I used to do that in the past where like, you know, the opportunities people start calling throughout the week, you know, when they get that message. And then Tuesdays, I'm doing all the realtor calls, just the random check-in calls. Wednesday, all the on-hold clients, Thursday, expired pre-approvals, and then Fridays, I'm gonna start something new, calling 2 VIPs, like past clients that have referred me a bunch, and then calling, you know, pre-approved buyers. And it's been just really nice because forever, like, you know, you have a list of tasks that pop up, and I got like 3 on holds and 1 expired pre-approval and, you know, 4 realtor check-ins, and I just felt like I was bouncing around all day. And yesterday, that's why I feel like I had that much time yesterday to start actually calling pre-approved buyers that had expired, instead of just sending them an email or something, because I was just in that mindset, right? And I was just like,
That makes a lot of
knocking
sense. I
out.
never thought about that. That would make a lot of sense because now you're doing the same thing on every call, right?
Yeah, and like today, you know, it's gonna take a while for the database to cycle, maybe like a month, right, to get everything in order. But, you know, I had a realtor check-in call for someone that, you know, we had a closing and we never got together in December. And so I just pushed it to Tuesday. I'm like, I'm not gonna call her today. I'm gonna focus on other things today. Because if I call her, then maybe I won't call the 2 VIP clients. So it's been
Right on.
really helpful.
Right on. It's funny how like I appreciate, thank you for sharing. A guy that's been in the business for 20, how many years now? 23 years. It's 23rd year and learning new things. That's huge right there. It's like, yeah, I can do something. I can get better at this. Like, what can I do to get better? Don't ever lose that. I really think that's the difference between the people that continue to grow in their careers and the people that stagnate. They're like, I'm done. I'm good. I got it. And like, no, you don't. So, that's great. Anybody else? Right on. Let me share real quick. Jacqueline just emailed. Her gratitude was for a new year and to be back at work. Her wins were the last year's marketing had really good results year end, staying top of mind with clients and agents, and she said she picked up another agent on HomeBot. So there you go. All right, everyone, let's have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great first week of the year. Let's go.